The scene was quiet but tense. Several security guards, all light-skinned and middle-aged, lined up in a slightly staggered formation outside the warehouse. Their eyes were sharp, scanning everything. The sun beat down, casting muted shadows on the cracked pavement. Behind them, a large military-style truck sat still, its dark olive green paint dull but solid. The sign behind the man read, "Authorized by Pentagon," and that alone made the air feel heavy with unspoken rules. In the front, a man in camouflage green pants and shirt, also middle-aged, stood relaxed but alert. His stance was casual, but everyone knew he was ready to move instantly. His face was serious, eyes fixed forward, holding a document in one hand. His other hand rested casually on his belt, near his sidearm. His name was Colonel Harris, though no one dared to call him that aloud. To them, he was simply the boss, the one who decided what was allowed and what wasn't. "Check the trucks," Harris ordered softly, voice steady but authoritative. His voice carried over the hum of distant machinery and the faint sound of footsteps inside the warehouse. One of the guards stepped forward, signaling to the driver of the truck. The vehicle's back doors remained shut, but the guards moved efficiently, inspecting the exterior, scanning the cargo through small windows. Nothing seemed out of place yet. Harris looked at the document again, then at the truck. It was the only vehicle in the lot, and it was heavily guarded. That meant something important was inside, something worth protecting at all costs. Suddenly, a faint flicker of movement caught Harris's eye. He glanced to the side, his gaze sharp. A figure had appeared at the edge of the lot, a man, dressed in plain clothes but with a confident stride. He wore dark sunglasses, even in the daylight, and carried a small briefcase. No badge, no uniform. Just a man who belonged here, but Harris knew better. "Who's that?" Harris asked, voice low but firm. The guard closest to him looked over, squinting. "No one I recognize, sir." Harris nodded slowly. "Keep an eye on him. Tell him to stop or I'll have him detained." The guard hesitated, then moved to intercept. Harris watched, eyes narrowing. The man kept walking straight toward the checkpoint. No sign of hesitation, no attempt to hide. "Stop right there," the guard called out, voice sharp. The man paused, then turned slightly, raising his hands in a calm gesture. "I'm here to see the director," he said smoothly, voice confident. "Name's Carter. I have an appointment." Harris stepped forward, eyes still on the stranger. "Your name?" "Carter. Just Carter." "I've got credentials," he said, pulling out a small badge from his pocket, flashing it quickly. Harris studied it, then looked back at the man. "Credentials look fake. Turn around and wait for security." Carter's smile didn't falter. "I think you'll want to see this," he said, pulling a folded piece of paper from his jacket. He held it out, fingertips trembling slightly. Harris reached out, snatching the paper, unfolding it. His eyes scanned the message quickly. His face remained unreadable, but a flicker of surprise crossed his eyes. "Who sent you?" Harris demanded. Carter looked directly into his eyes. "You know who I work for. And I got proof, something you need to see. It's about the shipment. About what's inside." Harris hesitated, then looked at his men. They were tense now, guns slightly raised but not yet aimed. He looked back at Carter. "You've got 5 seconds to tell me what this is about, or I'll have you detained." Carter's voice turned firm. "This isn't just a visit. It's a warning. If you don't stop the shipment, it's going to get ugly. Really ugly." Before Harris could respond, a sudden loud bang echoed from inside the warehouse. Dust and debris shook loose from the ceiling. All heads turned. Harris's instincts kicked in instantly. "Everyone stay alert," he barked. The guards raised their weapons, scanning the entrance. Harris kept his eyes on Carter. "What was that?" Carter shrugged. "Trouble. Looks like someone's trying to stop us." Harris clenched his jaw. "Stay here. I'll see what's happening." He motioned for his men to follow, then moved toward the warehouse door, pushing it open slowly. Inside, chaos was erupting. Men shouted. A firefight had begun. Someone had breached the perimeter. An attack, or perhaps an infiltration. Harris drew his weapon, moving to flank the intruders. The sound of gunfire grew louder. He spotted a figure darting across the open space, someone in black, armed, determined to get inside. "Drop your weapon," Harris shouted. But the figure didn't stop. Instead, they pulled out a device, a small box with blinking lights. Harris's eyes widened. An explosive. "Get down," Harris yelled, diving to cover. A massive explosion rocked the warehouse, flames billowing out. The blast threw debris across the lot, shattering windows and knocking over cars. Harris lay on the ground, coughing, eyes burning from smoke. When the dust settled, the scene had changed. The truck was engulfed in flames. The guard scrambled, shouting orders. Harris pushed himself up, looking around. The attacker was gone. Only smoke and chaos remained. He looked at Carter, who was now kneeling, clutching his arm. "This isn't over," Harris said grimly. "Someone's trying to stop us, someone who knows too much. And I think they're closer than we realize." Carter, bleeding but alive, looked up with a grim smile. "You have no idea what's coming next. But I do." Harris stared at the ruined lot, the smoldering truck. A terrible realization crept into his mind. This was just the beginning. The real battle was about to begin. Harris stared at the smoldering wreckage, his jaw clenched tight. The explosion had torn through everything, fire licking the sky, debris scattering like shattered dreams. His mind raced, trying to piece together what just happened. Someone had deliberately targeted the shipment, and whoever it was, they knew exactly what they were doing. Carter, bleeding from a shallow cut on his arm, looked up at him with a mixture of fear and determination. "They're closing in faster than we thought," he rasped. "This wasn't just an attack, it's a warning. Whoever's behind this, they're playing for keeps." Harris didn't look away from the chaos. His eyes narrowed. "We need to find out who's responsible. And fast. That explosion wasn't random. It was meant to send a message, and I've got a feeling it's only the beginning." A flicker of movement caught his eye. From the shadows, a figure emerged, slightly hunched, cloaked in dark clothing, with a backpack slung over one shoulder. Harris instinctively reached for his radio. But before he could speak, the figure raised a hand, signaling to stop. "I wouldn't do that," the stranger called out, voice muffled but clear. "You're not in control anymore." Harris stepped forward, gun aimed but steady. "Identify yourself. You're trespassing." The figure paused, then slowly lowered the hood, revealing a face partially obscured by shadows. It was a woman, her eyes cold and calculating. She looked directly at Harris, unflinching. "You're too late," she said softly. "The real game has already begun. And I'm here to make sure you understand, this isn't just about a shipment. It's about power, control, and the truth they don't want you to see." Harris's grip tightened on his weapon. "Explain." "Now." She smirked. "You think the shipment's just weapons or supplies?" "No. It's something much bigger. Something that could change everything you thought you knew. But I can't tell you everything yet. Just know this. The people behind this have connections you wouldn't believe, even if I told you." Carter, still clutching his arm, looked at her with suspicion. "Who are you?" She took a step closer, eyes blazing. "I'm someone who's been inside the system, someone who's seen the lies firsthand. And I'm here to stop them. You can help, or you can stand aside and watch everything burn." Harris hesitated, then spoke carefully. "If you know so much, why reveal yourself now?" She chuckled bitterly. "Because I've learned you can't trust anyone, not even your own people. And right now I need allies, and fast. The clock's ticking. The next move they make could be the final one. And I know they're coming." Suddenly, distant sirens blared in the background, growing louder. Harris glanced at his team, who had regrouped, weapons ready. The woman's words hung in the air like a warning. "Who are they?" Harris demanded. She looked around, then whispered, "The ones behind all this. They're the true enemies. They've been pulling the strings for years, hidden behind layers of lies. But I've got proof. And I'm going to show it to you, when the time is right." Without warning, she turned, slipping into the shadows. Harris shouted after her. Wait. We need your information. But she was gone, vanished into the maze of debris and smoke. Harris looked at Carter. This just got a lot more complicated. We're not just fighting a rogue attack anymore. We're fighting a system that's deeper and darker than we ever imagined. Carter nodded slowly, eyes fixed on the smoldering wreckage. And if we don't act fast, everything we know, everyone we trust, will be lost. The distant wail of sirens signaled the approaching backup. Harris took a deep breath, feeling the weight of what was coming. The game had changed. The stakes had risen. And somewhere in the shadows, the real enemy was waiting. He clenched his fists. Whatever it took, he would find the truth and stop them, even if it meant risking everything. Because this wasn't just about a shipment anymore. It was about saving what was left of the truth, and himself. Harris stared at the fading shadows where the woman had disappeared, his mind racing to process her words. The sirens grew louder, echoing through the chaos. The weight of suspicion pressed down on him. This wasn't just about rogue enemies or rogue agents. It was something far more insidious. Carter, still clutching his arm, broke the tense silence. Who do you think she was? He asked, grimacing. Harris shook his head slowly. No idea. But she knew things that could change everything. That's dangerous. Whoever she is, she's either working for them or against them. A squad of armored vehicles screeched into the lot, tires skidding on the pavement. Men in tactical gear poured out, guns ready, flashlights piercing the smoke and debris. Harris signaled to his team to stand down, then addressed the commanding officer. Secure the perimeter. No one in or out without my clearance, Harris ordered sharply. His eyes flicked back toward the smoldering wreckage of the truck. And find that woman. She's dangerous, more dangerous than we thought. As the soldiers set to work, Harris turned back to Carter. You said you've seen the lies firsthand. What exactly do you mean? Carter looked around nervously, then lowered his voice. There's a network, an underground system of people who manipulate everything from behind the scenes. Governments, corporations, even military operations like this one. They're the ones really pulling the strings. Harris's brow furrowed. You're talking about a shadow organization? Carter nodded. Exactly. They've been hiding for years, feeding false information, staging events. That shipment? It wasn't just weapons. It was a cover for something else, something they don't want anyone to find out. Before Harris could respond, a sudden burst of static crackled over the radio. An urgent voice came through. Commander Harris, you need to see this. On the surveillance feed. Now. Harris stepped closer, pressing the receiver to his ear. Go ahead. Someone's hacking into our system. They're trying to access the security cameras fast. And I think I know who it is. Harris's heart pounded. Who? The voice hesitated. It's her. The woman. She's inside the system. She's watching us. Harris's eyes widened. How is that possible? Carter looked equally surprised. She's not just some informant or a hacker. She knows the system, probably worked inside it. She's been inside all along. The realization hit him like a punch. So, she's been leading us all this time, feeding us bits of truth, trying to guide us. But can we trust her? Or is she just another pawn in their game? The radio crackled again. She's accessing the files now. I see documents, classified intel. She's looking for something specific. Harris clenched his fists. Whatever she's after, it's big. And if she gets her hands on it, everything changes. Carter looked at Harris with a mixture of concern and resolve. We need to find her before they do. She's the key to exposing the entire shadow network. As they moved to regroup, a faint glow caught Harris's eye from the wreckage. Something flickered, an object half buried beneath the rubble. He hurried over, kneeling down. It was a small, encrypted device, one that looked like a GPS tracker or a data chip. He picked it up, feeling its weight in his hand. This is what she was after, he whispered. Suddenly, the ground trembled. An ominous rumble echoed from inside the warehouse. Harris's gaze snapped upward. More explosions? Reinforcements? Or something worse? Everyone get ready, Harris ordered. "We're not just fighting to uncover the truth anymore. We're fighting to survive." He pocketed the device, knowing this was only the beginning. The shadows had deepened, and the game was far from over. But one thing was clear: whoever was behind this, they'd underestimated the people fighting to stop them. And Harris was determined to be one step ahead, no matter the cost. Because if they lost here, everything, every secret, every truth, would be lost forever. Harris pocketed the encrypted device, feeling its cold weight in his hand. The distant rumble intensified, a low, ominous growl that seemed to emanate from the very core of the building. His instincts told him they were running out of time. Carter's voice broke through the tense silence. "We need to move. Whatever's about to happen, it's not going to be pretty." Harris nodded, glancing at his team. "Secure the perimeter. No one gets in or out unless I say so. And keep your eyes open. We're walking into the unknown." As they began to back away, a sudden burst of light erupted from the warehouse, a blinding flash followed by a deafening explosion. The ground shook violently, sending a shockwave that knocked some of them off balance. Dust and debris billowed into the air, obscuring everything. "Go. Now," Harris shouted, pushing forward through the chaos. In the swirling dust, a figure emerged, waving frantically. It was the woman again, her face streaked with dirt and sweat, eyes blazing with urgency. "Over here," she yelled, beckoning them. Without hesitation, Harris sprinted toward her. "What is it? What did you find?" She pulled out a small, battered case from her backpack, clutching it tightly. "This is what they've been hiding. The real reason for the shipment. It's not just weapons or supplies. It's something much bigger. Something that could change the balance of power forever." Carter looked skeptical. "And why should we trust you?" She shot him a sharp look. "Because I've been fighting them longer than you've been alive. And I know what's inside this case. Proof of their true plans. But we don't have much time. They're about to make their move, and if we don't act fast, it's all over." Harris reached out, taking the case. "Show us. We need to see what's inside." With trembling hands, she unlocked it, revealing a series of encrypted documents, a flash drive, and a strange device that looked like a miniature black box. "Each of these holds evidence, proof of their manipulations, their lies," she explained. "But we need to decrypt them. That's why I came to you. You're the only ones I trust to stop this before it's too late." The ground beneath them rumbled again, louder this time, a warning that more destruction was imminent. Harris looked around at his team, then back at her. "All right," he said firmly. "We decrypt, we expose, and we stop them. No matter what it takes." Suddenly, a drone buzzed overhead, its red light blinking rapidly. Harris's eyes narrowed. "They're not going to let us walk away easily. We've got company." The woman's face hardened. "Then we fight. But remember, this isn't just about stopping them. It's about revealing the truth to the world, no matter the cost." As the drone's shadow cast over them, Harris clenched his jaw. The battle was just beginning. The shadows had already begun to fall, and only the brave would stand in the light to expose the darkness. They moved swiftly, knowing that every second counted. The secrets they carried could either topple a corrupt empire or condemn them all to silence forever. In that moment, Harris realized this was the turning point. The final act in a game where trust was scarce and betrayal lurked behind every corner. And they had no choice but to face it head-on.